والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. So inshallah we are going to continue the chapter number 13. Chapter number 13. And just to summarize what we have mentioned last time, because tonight, inshallah, we are going to continue what we have started last time. Last time we started the same chapter, and tonight, inshallah, we're going to summarize. I'm going to try to, inshallah, summarize in a nutshell what we have mentioned before, and to continue what is remaining. And this is the last chapter in the book of purification. And so this is the last chapter in the book of the purification, and then inshallah we are going to start the book of Salah. Inshallah, the book of Salah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
We can start Salah today?
May Allah.
Salah today or inshallah?
You can pray every day, no problem. But as a chapter, we can start today. You can pray every day, inshallah. So we're going to start, inshallah, next week. The Salah, inshallah.
Which Salah?
Hmm?
The chapter.
Chapter
Or the book of
Salah.
Salah.
Chapter Salah.
The book of Salah.
The book of Salah. Okay? So, and for those who didn't attend, can you just please come here? Yeah, let's see all of you. Just focus on one area. Yes, it's going to be inshallah better. So, with the tea that you drink, inshallah, you're drinking tea now, so it's going to be more helpful to us to stay alert
For now.
inshallah.
Yes.
So,
my wife.
and this chapter actually is, I want to say, the most important chapter when it comes to the questions and points that we need to know and to learn, because it's actually related to something happens every time. Something happens every time. And women call it habit, period, right? It happens every time. And to know it, something obligatory upon you. As I mentioned before, you are a shepherd at your home, right? You're responsible. You need to know, like, what is needed to be known, whether to teach your kids or to teach your wife or teach your wives, right? I like this word, huh? Whenever I see this word, I feel, mashallah, brothers like it. So this is something very important. Can you imagine that you are getting questions from your wife, like about something like that, and you said, I don't know, right? And nowadays, sometimes it's difficult. So to go to someone, to trust someone, to get a knowledge from someone. So what you're doing right now is so important. As they say, it's not for kicks and giggles. Something very important. We need just to focus and to know it, and to be, always ready to answer such questions. And also, as I said before, knowledge itself is a kind of what? It's a kind of ibadah, worship. Whether you need it or not, whether you need it or is a kind of worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commanded us to ask for increase when it comes to knowledge. وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. Say, oh my Lord, increase me in knowledge. So to just mention what we have said before, to summarize it, we spoke last time about the menstruation and we said al-hayd, which means menstruation. This is actually, which means the flow of a type of natural blood from the womb at specific times. This is a definition of hayd, right? And we actually said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran al-hayd, and He said, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ قُلْ هُوَ أَذَى فاعتزلوا النساء في المحيض ولا تقربوهن حتى يطهرن فإذا تطهرن فأتوهن من حيث أمركم الله إن الله يحب التوابين ويحب المتطهرين. So some Muslims, even when you come to talk about these topics, they say to you, it's very like, not that, it's like trivial. Guys, people now, they went to the moon and you're still talking about the menstruations? Huh? And you say to them, look, who is more knowledgeable, you or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about that in the Quran, in the greatest book ever, Quran. Allah said, oh Muhammad, they ask you about that. And whoever said this statement after he knows what Allah has revealed upon his Prophet ﷺ, he doesn't have any iman in his heart. Right? And whoever mocks at any verse of the Quran, he's not Muslim anymore. This is by consensus. Right? So for those who just try to trivialize such things or any point, anything in the Quran or in the Sunnah, to try to make it trivial in the minds of others, it's actually against Iman. You have to take everything Allah has mentioned seriously. Everything should be taken seriously. Right? And we have to understand that we need the Quran and the Sunnah every day in our life, every moment, every second. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned that in the Quran. And He said, they ask you, O Muhammad about menstruation, say it is harm. Look to the Islam, the religion of beauty and purification. As I mentioned in the before, in the Jum'ah, and I said, Subhanallah, Salman al-Farisi radiallahu anhu, he got this question, which was actually out of envy from one of the Jews. He said to him, your prophet, he taught you everything. Even he taught you how to clean yourself after you relieve yourself. He said, yes, he did. He taught us not to use our left hands, not to use our right hand, to use our left hands. Right? And he taught us to use the stone 3 times. Right? And he taught us not to use any dung to clean ourselves. And he told him that, he admitted that the Prophet ﷺ, he admitted that he taught us everything. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He's our leader. And he was can you imagine, he was the ruler of Muslims nation. And he was the instructor. And he was the commander. And Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was the leader. And that didn't make him busy to teach us these things. Right? And he was, if you want to say, he was the politician. If you want to say this word, he was deciding the policy and the political issues of Muslims. He was determining what is to be done and what is not to be done. Right? And he was Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, involved in everything in the aspects of life. So he taught us, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to us, it is harm. So keep away from wives during menstruation and do not approach them until they are pure. And when they have purified themselves, we said until they are pure, this is natural, until the blood stops. Right? And then when they purify themselves, so they have to do something after that, they have to take a bath, right? They have to bathe themselves. And then when they do that, they then come to them from where Allah has ordained for you. Indeed, Allah loves those who are constantly repentant and those who purify themselves. So we spoke about that. We spoke about that last time, and we said the point of, also I'm going to mention that we said the menstruation happens for those who are not pregnant, right? We said the women who are not pregnant, they actually, the women who are not pregnant, right? They have, the women who are pregnant, they don't get menstruation. So when you just speak, you distract me. Yeah. So he said that, right? In the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, as we have mentioned last time, لا توطأ حامل حتى تضع ولا حائل حتى what? حتى تحيض حيضة. So he made the word ha'il, which is not pregnant, right? This word is the opposite of the word hamil, which means pregnant, right? So the menstruation happens for those who are not pregnant. So that's just to know the meaning of this word and the reason of that blood to gush forth. Yeah, this is actually the blood which comes out because the woman is not pregnant, so there is no need for this blood to be remaining in her womb, all right, for her baby. There is no baby now, right? There is no baby will be created. There is no embryo, right? So now the blood has no need to stay in her womb, so it would be coming out of her womb, and this is the hayd. We mentioned the rulings about when it comes to the Quran, from the Quran and the Sunnah. We said the Prophet ﷺ, he prohibited, first ruling, we said what? He prohibited the menstruating women to pray and to fast. Right? We mentioned the hadith in Bukhari or Muslim, the Prophet hadith, now we want the page number 76, right? He said, ﷺ, give up prayer when your menstrual period begins. So it's haram, it's prohibited. Look, it's prohibited for women to pray or and to fast.
Fasting.
Right? Someone might say, okay, it's a good action. Now it's not a good action. Good actions are being determined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not what we see is good action. Like, you know what? What is better than salah? Is there anything better than what do you call salah in Islam?
No.
قال صلى الله عليه وسلم الصلاة he said الصلاة خير موضوع. Salah is the best thing to do. But even though it comes to the woman who has this menstruation, salah for her will be prohibited. That teaches us what? Islam is not our way, the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And subhanAllah, I wanna just, this point keeps coming to my mind every time when I speak about that. Subhanallah, when we speak about the Mawlid al-Nabawi, the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, and people say, you know what, it's something good to do. Why not? We're celebrating. We're happy. We're celebrating the day of the birth of the Prophet ﷺ. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
They say that, and when you say to them, but nobody did it from the Sahaba. They say to you, but it's good action, something good. Why not? We say to them, if Allah has forbidden prayers and fasting for the menstruating women, how dare after that we say, okay, this is good and this is bad, without having evidences, proofs, right?
Yes.
It's not even, possible, right? The point is to be slave to Allah, to submit to Him. So what He says to you, you do it. First, so give up your prayer, and this is a hadith in Bukhari or Muslim. And also this ijma' also consensus about that. Like this ijma' that salah and sawm are prohibited. And then there is also ijma' that the woman, which when the menstrual period is over, she has to make up what? To make up for the missed days of fasting. So, right?
Not the salah.
According to the ijma' of the fuqaha, the consensus of the fuqaha. But she doesn't have to make up the
Salah.
the praise that she has missed.
Only fasting.
Only fasting.
What if a woman is fasting and she goes into this phase? Her fast is broken.
Yeah, of course, this is her fasting. If even 1 minute before the sunset, before the time of Maghrib, and she got this menstruation, this period, of course the day is gone, is not counted. Is not counted. She has to make up this day after she got purified.
So she has to count that day as a day to make up.
As a day to make it up.
Okay.
Yes, as a day to make it up.
Also,
It's not going to be counted, even if it's 1 minute before the Maghrib. And the whole day she's okay, and 1 minute before the Maghrib she got her menstruation, so now she's not fasting, and this day is not counted, is not considered. She has to make this day up after after her menstruation is over. And also Aisha, she said Hadith in Bukhari or Muslim, when we menstruated during the lifetime of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we used to be commanded by Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to make up for the missed days of fasting, but we were not ordered to make up for the missed prayers. Right? It's very important to know that. Huh? So fast, like as I mentioned that last time. We're not going to just repeat everything. And he said it's the second rule. This is the first rule, right, about salah and so on. The second rule: it's impermissible for a menstruating woman to make tawaf around Kaaba, or recite Quran, or to stay in the mosque. We mentioned that in details, right? What we said about the tawaf. Yes, there is no difference among scholars around this point, except
Ibn Taymiyyah and
Just
Hajj.
around-
yeah, he mentioned that only one case, one scenario of a woman, like she fears to miss her journey going back home, and she is now required to make the last tawaf, which is the tawaf of al-wada', the farewell tawaf, which is wajib in Hajj, right? So now he said if she fears that she's not going to be able to make it to make the tawaf before her journey is like nowadays, she has a flight or she comes with group of people and they're not going to just wait for her until she becomes pure. So now she has to do something. So he said, rahmahullah, now she can clean herself and make sure there's no blood will be coming out from her, and she will. So this is against all these scholars of Islam. They said no, right? She's not going to be counted. This is the only difference that we like based on my knowledge that has been mentioned around this point. But tawaf cannot be done without purification, minor and major purification. This is the ruling. This is a ruling. Tawaf requires what? Purification. Nowadays might be easier than before, right? So this is the second ruling. When it comes to Quran, we said what? We did the most correct view about on that is
She shouldn't read. She shouldn't unless she's a hafiz and she needs.
we said when it comes to Quran, no, she has the right to recite Quran if she memorizes, right, from her memory,
But not
and not to touch the mushaf.
Not to touch them.
Yeah, and scholars said in particular, if she is like hafid or she's teaching Quran, right? She's a teacher and she might forget if she doesn't review all the time. So now it is okay for her because that was it before menstruation. Sometimes remains, or for like some women, almost 14 days. Sometimes it happens, right? Or 10 days, or like, so it's going to be difficult for her to stay all of this period without reading Quran, memorizing, or reviewing what she has memorized. And also staying to stay in the mosque, we say it's not permissible to stay in the mosque unless she needs like to stay for some needs, like she needs to seek obligatory knowledge, she needs to teach, and she needs that, right? And they said the other condition is what? She has to make sure that
there's no
she is not gonna contaminate
Contaminate the
the
area.
area
She's-
that she's staying in. So there's also two points we have to mention them have to put them into consideration. So we said it's also prohibited for her husband to have any sexual intercourse with her until her period is over, and she takes a ritual bath. Two things should be happen before that, right? And Allah subhanahu as we mentioned the verse before, Allah said that in Quran. We mentioned the verse before. Keep away from wives during menstruation, right? And we said the Prophet ﷺ, when it came to this point, he explained to us, right? And he said to the Sahaba, and he said, you can do everything when he said, اصنعوا كل شيء إلا النكاح وفي رواية وفي لفظ إلا الجماع. حديث صحيح Muslim, right? He said, sallallahu when it comes to these points, you can do everything except what? Except the sexual intercourse with, which is like the copulation, right? As in another version. So he said it's the third rule. It's permissible for the husband of menstruating woman to. We said that also before. This is the same ruling, right? This is the page number 76. To enjoy her by kissing, touching, all of these things are permissible. But what is not permissible? The jima', right? You know what that means? Huh? This is not permissible. If you have any question, you can ask me before we go like forward. It's okay? It's clear? Okay. So only the sexual relationship, intercourse, is haram, right? It's haram. The fourth ruling, the page number 77, 78, it's impermissible for the husband also of the menstruating woman to divorce her before her menstrual period is over. It's haram to divorce her during the menstruation time. It's haram, right?
Yes.
And we said the Quran, Allah said, يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن. Allah said that in the Quran, O Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you Muslims divorce women, divorce them at the commencement of their waiting period, which is the iddah, right? So now we said two things should be putting into consideration before anyone wanting to divorce his wife. Two things he has to put into consideration. He has to make sure that she doesn't have menstruation, right? And he has to make sure this time, if she doesn't have also menstruation, that the period that she is clean, pure in it, he didn't touch it. He didn't touch her during this period. So these two things, and this actually will decrease the number of cases of divorce. It's a prophetic advice, because now you wouldn't divorce your wife out of anger. I mean, when you are angry, right? You wouldn't do that because you would have to wait, right?
Yes.
Have to wait, right? Because a woman might be like pure, but if her husband met her during this time, right? If he met her, as you understood, right? That is actually will be preventing him from divorcing her till he waits for her to have her menstruation and then to get purified again, and then he can divorce her. You got it?
Yes.
It's clear?
Yes.
Okay.
But my question is, nikah is during the getting married. Is it right in the menstruation time?
Nikah means what? What do you mean by nikah?
Marriage.
Marriage, the marriage contract.
Yes, marriage.
Yes, okay. Marriage contract is okay, of course.
In this time.
You may marriage contract anytime. The marriage contract itself anytime. It's a good question, by the way, right? You just go to make a contract, marriage contract, right? Nikah, right? Aqd, right? Aqd الزواج, anytime. Only we speak about the relationship, right? The relationship, the actual relationship, right? What happens? We said also the evidence for that. The Prophet ﷺ, he ordered that Sahabi Abdullah ibn Umar, right, when he divorced his wife during her menstrual period, to take her back and to divorce her. After, if he still insisted, after when her period was over. Abdullah ibn Umar, he divorced his wife, which was having menstruation. Subhanallah. And the Prophet, he knew about that and he got angry. And he said to him, "Why did you do that? You shouldn't have done that." And he commanded him to take her back, to make raj'a, right? And yuraja'ha. And he said, if you wanted, still you are insisting on divorcing her, you have to do that after she gets purified. He said what? He said, now you have to wait till she becomes pure. And then she gets her, still you cannot also divorce her. Then she will be having her menstruation, and then she will become pure again, and then you can divorce her.
So if it's mistakenly done while she is in menstruation, it's not applied.
This is what we have mentioned last time too.
Yes.
We said all the scholars, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Ahmad Hanbal, the four Imams, right? All of them, they said the divorce which happens during the menstruation period will be considered and will be counted.
Yes.
Yes, will be counted. It will be counted as a divorce. Right? And we said that hadith with the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, go and
Return.
you return the the marriage again. Like return her again, right? So let her come back again. So that means it was counted. And also in another narration in Sahih Bukhari, Ibn Umar said, and it was counted. It was counted as a divorce. It was counted. ها؟ ها؟ قال وعد التطليقة أو وحسب التطليق وحسب الطلقة. Right? It was counted. Yeah.
So in the ayah وطلقوهن لعدتهن.
فطلقوهن
فطلقوهن لعدتهن. What's the meaning of the عدتهن? Or here it says the waiting period. What
Yeah, it means you should divorce them if you want to divorce them. You should divorce them at in the commencement of their iddah, which is at the time when they are pure in it,
Oh,
like before you touch them.
Oh, so the iddah is opposite to menstruation, or like
Yeah, because the iddah now would start. It means it means what? Because when a woman is being divorced in the time of menstruation, that will prolong the iddah for her. Because the iddah of the woman, what is the iddah of any woman? She is like divorced.
3 months.
Not 3 months. 3 what?
3 times.
Three periods.
Three
Three, not 3 months. 3 periods, right? So it's be counted by period. And what is a period? The most going to view is what? The period, it means here hayd. 3 haydat. 3 times of menstruations. 3 times of menstruations. So if a woman gets divorced in her menstruation, what's going to happen? This menstruation is not going to be counted.
Yes or no?
It's not going to be counted, right? Right?
For the iddah.
For the iddah.
For the iddah.
For the waiting period, right? So she would have to do what? She would have to wait till she gets purified, right? And then when the next time of menstruation, now she's gonna start
That's number
count.
Right. That's
So now for her it's gonna be prolonged, right? So gonna just make it hard for the woman, right? So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commanded, no, you just have to if you want to divorce them, should be done at the commencement, at the beginning of their waiting period. Means what? Means to make it count, for her, right? So if she gets divorced in the time of purification, she's pure now, and her husband didn't touch her, right? And so this is going to be counted the first time, right? You got it? So
But if touch,
now, yeah,
if husband touch her wife in this first waiting period, that is not counted.
no. If we said before, it's actually if he touch her, it's not permissible for him to divorce her.
But the divorce itself will be.
But divorce itself will be counted, right? So these two things, anyone wants to divorce his wife, he has to make sure they are there before making divorce. This will discipline them, the husbands, and will make them patient, and will decrease the numbers of the cases of divorce among Muslims. You got it? It's easy now? Any question? And so Hadith Bukhari, he said, it was counted. Only Ibn Taymiyyah, Rahimahullah, and Ibn Qayyim, they said no, it's not counted, and they mentioned like many things actually not to consider it. But this is not a strong opinion; it's actually a weak opinion. It's a weak opinion because it's against the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and we're not gonna just make what you call someone who did something wrong. He disobeyed Allah. Would we reward him? Like he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by making this divorce during the administration. Would we go and reward him, saying to him, no, it doesn't count. Go ahead, do it.
But did he do it knowingly or unknowingly? That's the part. Like if he did it,
If he does it unknowingly, so he's not sinful, but his still divorce will be counted.
Okay.
If he does it knowingly, he's going to be sinful, and also divorce will be counted. Anyway, divorce will be counted, right? Divorce will be counted anyway, regardless.
So in that case, she goes into the next cycle and then she has to leave because the first one was applied. So
She has to leave what?
so he has to divorce second time for her to leave now because the
Doesn't
first
have
one
to divorce
was,
second.
Huh?
No, doesn't have to do that.
right. But she just goes through the second and leave.
Leave what?
He's saying he divorces her during her cycle, and then the cycle finishes. Does at that point does she just does she leave, or does he have to divorce her again?
So you asked me about
Yeah, you're
the woman, the divorced woman, right? When should she stay during the time of the waiting period, right? When should she stay after she got divorced?
Okay,
During the time we said three ministrations, right? Three types of ministration, right? You ask where should she stay, right? You ask me this question.
No,
That's
No.
another valid question.
Yes, no.
That's another valid
No, I
question.
think he
He's
was
saying-
asking about the hadith when the Prophet ﷺ
Yeah.
asked the Umar to return her back. So I think he's asking so she's gonna wait and then he's gonna divorce her after, and then this next divorce would be counted as a second divorce.
Of course. If he wants, if he wants after that, if he wants to divorce his wife after that, right? He has to wait, and then to divorce her, and it will be counted the second time.
But what if
Because the
she,
first time already
But
has been considered.
But if he
Yes.
doesn't, she can still leave her.
Of course, if she doesn't, if he intends to bring her back to his life, so it's okay.
okay, but
It's okay.
What if
It's
she-
only one time.
What-
If it's still the first time.
and
If
if
it's
she
the
does,
third time, it's already gone.
what if she doesn't want to go back?
The first time and the second time, this is the right. This is the right for the husband, right? So he doesn't need her permission to return her, right? Right.
third time
Like if the one divorces his wife the first time during the waiting period, he has the chance and the right to return her, okay, without her permission, by even like verbally, right? You can say, is mustahab to have two witnesses, mustahab, right? If he said that to her, you are returned, so now she's returned, right? If that happens during the waiting period, but if the waiting period, which are the three menstruation times, are gone, now she has to decide whether to go back to him or not. But the divorced woman, which is still after the first and the second, she is considered as a wife. As a wife in the sense of what?
New act?
Huh? Huh?
New act or no?
In a sense, no one else
In
can.
the sense of what? She cannot marry someone
No one
else.
else can propose.
She has to wait for her husband, right, to decide. Right, this is something.
I think we stay on the topic what we did. This topic is changed for talaq.
Okay, it's also very important.
That's a very big also.
So
Unless-
yeah, I mean, this is something also about talaq. Listen,
It's not
Jazakallah khair.
it's not
Let's
finished
focus.
2 minutes. We
let's-
need full time for that topic.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair.
So please stay on this.
Jazakallah khairan.
But it is actually something very important to know because it came to. No, because sometimes when you see question which is relevant to the topic, because talaq is going to come maybe after like few, maybe I don't say maybe 1 year after, right? Huh? Maybe because we are going these phases. So maybe if it's like something very urgent, someone wants to ask about something urgently, right? So we cannot say no. So anyway, it's still also part of knowledge, right? And it's also mentioned here because it's so relevant.
Okay.
Allah meant, as if you read the verse here, Allah said that the verse is mentioned. If you read the verse, فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ, we said what is not permissible for the husband to do during the
Waiting.
time of menstruation, which is what actually is not permissible for him to divorce, right? Have you seen the word divorce there? The first line in the page number 77. The first line, right? He said it's not permissible, right? To divorce her before her menstrual period is over. So of course we are still in the topic. We're not out of the topic, right? But anyway, just we might like have elaborated
Too much.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Hopefully, just you understand. By the way,
Yes.
like if you understand, that's it. No, it's like
Yeah, we understand.
alhamdulillah. So, and then also we mentioned after that.
Start Salah when
So hold on, just hold on. We said this is another also issue, right? It's very important too. We said that after the blood is over,
yes.
what should happen? She has to purify herself, right? And she has to take a bath, and then she can do whatever she wants after that. What if after she gets purified, she sees any color like yellowish discharge? What did we say about that before? You know why? Because, did you come last time?
Last week?
Yeah.
No.
You did. So I think some of you
Most
did.
of the.
Wallah, I just repeat for you, wallah.
Most of
Otherwise, we have mentioned everything like here.
Sheikh is better, like most of
And
the.
you didn't even attend. Okay. So I mean, we said the colors which comes after the purification, right, is going to be considered, right? Hadith al-Mu'atiyah, she said, we never considered yellowish discharge as a thing of importance as menstruation. Hadith in Bukhari and other compilers of hadith also, right? They narrated that hadith. So this is clear? Is it clear? The point clear? The last point?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Most of this you
we said, and also we spoke about that before.
Yeah.
We said about if she gets purified, what should she do actually? If she gets purified after Maghrib, before Maghrib, right?
Zohar and Asr.
So she has to do what?
She has to make up the Dhuhr and Asr.
And if she gets purified before Fajr,
Then she has to
Isha
make up
Maghrib.
Aisha or
It's
Maghrib
Isha
Aisha.
Maghrib.
This is also controversial, right? There is-
yeah, but this is the Malik Shafi'i Ahmed. The vast majority of the scholars is not ijma', but the vast majority of the scholars, Malik Shafi'i Ahmed, they said yes, she has to make up the salah of
Last two.
the salah of Dhuhr if she got purified after Asr, right? And she has to make up the salah of Maghrib if she got purified after Isha, right?
Sure.
Like now after Isha, the blood stopped. Now she takes a bath. What should she do now? Pray what? Isha?
Isha
Or
Maghrib.
is there something else now?
Maghrib Aisha.
Maghrib wa
Maghrib wa
Isha. Or she
Maghrib wa Isha.
Because Maghrib and Isha, like if you're traveling, it's the same.
Oh, mashallah, barakallah fiqh. Yes, excellent. This is actually the answer.
Sure.
And also Dhuhr and Asr. She gets purified before Maghrib.
Yeah.
Now she has to pray Dhuhr and Asr.
Right.
Because the time of the latter, or the time of the first, is the same time of the latter, in case of traveling or any emergency case, right?
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Well,
And then we said, let me just continue this, and then what we said also other question, which is if she was pure now after the Dhuhr, but she hasn't prayed Dhuhr yet, right? And then she got her menstruation. We said, does she have to make it up this salah Dhuhr after she gets pure or not?
Yes.
controversial.
This is also a controversial issue here, right? And we said, like Ibn Taymiyyah, he said no, right? And Ibn Taymiyyah, he said madhab Abu Hanifa or Malik, Abu Hanifa or Malik, they said no, she doesn't have to make up this salah, right? And we said Shaykh al-Husaymin, he said, you know what, to be in subside, let her pray this salah, make it up, right? And this is what Shafi'i and Ahmed, said about this point, right?
okay, so just to clarify, because there was a question about the yellowish discharge, it's okay for women to pray during the yellowish discharge?
Brother Malik, this question for you. Brother Malik, this question for you.
No, thank you.
Say again.
The yellowish discharge.
Hmm.
Okay, after a woman purifies herself, it's still
After purifying.
After what?
He can
Good.
pray.
she can pray or not?
Pray after purifying.
She what?
She can pray after purifying.
No, he's not asking about that.
Vice
No,
versa.
is it something to be considered if there's a yellowish discharge?
He said if she sees a yellowish discharge after she got her purification, like she got purified, the blood stopped. And then after the blood stopped and she got like she became very clean, right? And then maybe one day later she saw a yellowish discharge.
No.
So what should she do now?
She still can pray.
She should consider this as part of menstruation or what?
No, it's not. Because I think
We mentioned this like right now.
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
no, he can continue.
it has no.
We just mentioned right now. We said Hadith al-Mu'atiyya. Right? Hadith al-Mu'atiyya, we mentioned like it is not going to be considered at all, after she sees the whiteness, right? Or she got purified. Now the blood stopped at all. She got purified, and then later on she saw the yellowish discharge, right? So now it's going to be considered. She has to do what? Clean herself and continue praying and fasting and
Continue the routine.
yeah. But if it's continuous with the blood, like she didn't get pure at all, it's like what was like continuous to the blood, so of course it's going to be considered as menstruation,
So the
right? So it is actually very important to know this issue, right?
So the key factor is the purification. If it happens before or after purification. If it happens before purification, it's considered as part of the period and she stays away from salah and fasting.
Yes.
If it happens after purification, then she continues
Yeah.
salah and the fasting.
And two factors how to determine that she got pure or not. How a woman can determine that she got pure or not. Two things. They said first, the al-qassa al-bayda. If she sees the whiteness, like whiteness discharge, white discharge, white excretion, right? This white secretion, right? This white secretion, if she sees that, right, like they know how to see that. But if she sees that, this is a sign, right, to determine that she became pure. Or the other sign is the dryness, dryness, like she's dry, she doesn't have anything,
No blood.
right? No blood, nothing. Right? These two things determine her purification. So if she sees one of these two things after menstruation, she got pure. If she sees any yellowish color after that in this discharge, she doesn't have to consider that at all. She has to ignore that, only to clean herself and to pray and fast, right? The other point, the others also mentioned, if she already also if she got her menstruation after dhuhr, like now dhuhr time is due, and then she plans to pray, right? But then she got her menstruation. Okay, of course she cannot do what now? Can only pray, right? But after menstruation is over, does she have to make it up this salah?
It's like controversial.
Based on the Shafi'i and Ahmed, they said yes, and Shaykh al-Hussein said to be inside, let her do that, right? So Abu Hanifa, they said she doesn't have to do that, and there is no evidence for that, and Taymiyyah supported that opinion.
Sure.
And then we finish this haid now finish the administration. We saw istihadah, and istihadah we said had 3 cases.
I have one
Let's
question.
just
Sister,
can you keep okay? You have a question here.
sister
Your
has a
sister,
question,
okay.
Yes. It's,
Okay.
How long for the dryness? Is a day? Like how long? You said for the dryness.
Once she knows, like she became dry.
So she doesn't have. There's no time period. And once she
Yeah, that's good. They said it's better to do that at night before she sleeps, right? And then in the morning before Fajr, she has to check, right? So this time of like during the night, she's gonna be enough for her if she does that, right? By like putting cotton or anything. So then in the morning before Fajr, right? She's gonna check. If she like finds everything is okay, there's no blood anymore, now she has to take a ritual bath, right? And then to pray Maghrib and Isha before Fajr. So this is actually the easiest way to check this point, right? So now we finish the height, which is the natural blood. Now we with istihadah. Istihadah means what? Istihadah is the irregular blood, irregular vaginal bleeding, right? Other than what you call haid, menstruation, and this is caused by a vein, right? We mentioned that before. So we said high istihada has 3 cases, right? 3 cases. The one who is Musa has 3 cases. The first case is what? What the first case?
When she had a habit, like a
So now you know istihada means what or no?
Yes.
Istihada means like she still sees the blood, like all the time. All the time, blood doesn't stop. During the whole month, right? So of course she has to find a way for it. She has to know what to do now. She's not gonna just ignore salah at all now, right? This is good istihada. This is not actually dam of haid. It's not menstruation. The Prophet said it's not menstruation. This is another blood
Disease.
which is caused by a vein, right? And he says, this is like a strike from the devil. So what? A strike from the devil, right? So we said before, now she has to do something now. Or she has 3 cases. Either she's a woman which knows how to distinguish, and this is actually what, Ibn Taymiyyah, like what some of the scholars said, she has to start with that. If she knows how to distinguish between the 2 bloods. Hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned that hadith when he said sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the dam of the haid, the blood of haid. He said this is actually the blood which is black, thick blood, is very known, right? Very known blood, which is like very thick blood, very thick and black blood, right? So if she knows how to distinguish between the blood of menstruation and the other blood, so now once she sees the other blood, once the blood of menstruation that she knows she can recognize stops, now she has to clean herself and to start praying and fasting, and she doesn't have to consider anything else about, even if she sees the blood after that, if she knows how to distinguish between the 2 kinds of blood, right? And hadith, he mentioned hadith Fatima bint Abi Hubaysh, that he said, when the menstruation blood comes, it is black blood that can be recognized. So when that comes, give up performing salah, but when a different type of blood comes, you can perform wudu and perform salah. This hadith actually by Abu Dawood and hadith sahih. You got it? First case. Now she knows how to distinguish. This woman, she knows how to distinguish. Other woman, she doesn't know how to distinguish. But she used to have a habit before. She used to have what? Habit. Like habit for these 6 days, 7 days, right? And all of a sudden the habit changed. And blood continued. Right? So hadith, the Prophet he said also to Habiba, he said, remain away from prayer equal to the length of time that your menstrual period used to prevent you. After that, after the period of usual courses or cycle, bathe yourself and perform salah. Hadith Bukhari and Muslim. Right? So the different woman, she didn't know how to distinguish, but she had a habit before. Right? She had a before habit, like for 6 days, 7 days. So he said to her, Salam, okay, now remain the same period of time that you used to remain before, and whatever blood you see after that, don't consider that blood anything. Right? But he said to her what? You have to do what? To make wudu after every salah. For every salah to make wudu. Right? This is the second case of the woman that has istihadah. The third case, the woman, she doesn't know how to distinguish and she didn't have any habit before. Right? So when she starts like that. She doesn't know how to distinguish between the haid, menstruation, blood, and the other blood. And she doesn't have any habit. So this woman, she has to do what, as we said? Who can say?
Who had a regular habit?
She looks at the
She
women,
didn't have any habit before.
she looks at the
Oh,
women in her family.
And she can't distinguish and she can't distinguish.
And she cannot distinguish. No, you just you know.
You look at the women in her family and see
So,
what
yeah,
their
the average
average is.
yes.
She does what they
She has to do
6-7 days.
has to now check the irregular menstrual period of her relatives or like her family, right? And to count that. This is why hadith Hamna bint Jahsh, the Prophet sallallahu when she was seeing a lot of blood, like it doesn't stop at all during the whole month, doesn't stop. He said, "Sallam, this is istihadah, is a strike, it's harm caused by Satan." Subhanallah, caused by Satan. And he said, Sallallahu, so you should count 6 or 7 days for menstruation. Only count 6 or 7 days, based on what the habit of your sisters, your your family right now, and your mom, whatever. And then you should take a ritual bath. If you see that, you have purified yourself. Then perform the salah for 24 or 23 days and fast for this. For this will be sufficient for you. So you should do so. You should do as women do during their menstrual period. You got it?
Yes.
This is the third case of istihadah, right? So, and then he mentioned that we said this is actually 3 cases only.
To strike from devil means something bad happened to her, or
No, this is like
No.
natural thing, right? As we mentioned before, Hadith Aisha anha, when she was making Hajj and then all of a sudden she had her menstruation and she got very sad. What did he say to her? He said, "Don't be sad. This is something Allah has decreed upon the daughters of Adam alayhi salam." Right? So he said to her, "Do everything except what?
Oh,
Tawaf." That the tawaf is not permissible for the Hajj, right? This is also one of the evidences. Okay, now we finish istihadah too, right? The same acts to be by mustahada, she she is deemed actually ritually pure. Even she sees blood now, blood doesn't stop, but ritually she is pure. You got it?
Yes.
So she has to take what? A ritual bath when her estimated period. Look, what estimated period for menstruation ends. Now still blood doesn't stop, but she consider blood now stopped
7 days, 8 days.
because she doesn't know what to do. So she does what? She consider these days as menstruation. So after this consideration is over, these days are over, she has to make what? Has to take a bath now, right? And then she has to clean herself, wash herself, and do everything like that. The Prophet he said in the hadith that she should give up prayer during her menstrual period, after which she should take a bath and then she can perform salah, right? One of the women, she asked the Prophet, right? And also he said, he said to her, أنعت لك الكرسف تحشين به المكان. I advise you to use cotton, right? For it absorbs the blood, right? So, and then she has to make sure the blood doesn't come from her. This is actually the istihadah or the mustahada. The third thing, which is like the new thing today, actually very short, which is the postnatal bleeding. We said the ruling on a woman in a state of post. This is actually page number 81. Just you follow me with me. You follow with me. Page number 81. Okay. Last. You follow. Page number. Okay.
But the mustahada has to perform wudu before every salah, right?
The mustahada, she has to perform wudu before each. No, after the time is due. Like now she's gonna pray dhuhr, right? She has to make wudu after dhuhr is due, right? After dhuhr is
Sorry,
due.
so when Dhuhr starts, then
And
she makes
like
wudu.
dhuhr is 1 o'clock. Sorry, dhuhr is 12 o'clock now, maybe, right?
Right.
Say, right? So now 12 o'clock dhuhr time. So that 12:05, she makes wudu and then she prays, right? She cannot make wudu before the time is due, right? So after the time, after every.
This is for the one who continuously.
This is for the one who has istihadah. Like the blood continues for her. It doesn't stop. So now she's going to consider whatever she had, right, as height and whatever she, like as we mentioned, the details of it, right?
Third,
The ruling on a woman in the state of postnatal bleeding, that of course this after what? After giving birth, right? After giving birth, the same ruling of the menstruating woman, right? When it comes to the permissibility of the husband, like and everything that we mentioned before, and they also have the same rulings regarding the prohibition of sexual intercourse, observing fast, performing prayer, divorce, performing tawaf, reciting all of what I have said before, right? Moreover, the rulings on both cases are the same regarding the obligation of taking ritual bath when bleeding stops and making up for the missed days of fast. Also, the like woman after she gave birth, she might stay sometimes 30 days or 40 days, right, without praying, right? After that, if this was during the month of Ramadan, she has to make what?
fasting.
Make up this fasting, but of course she's not going to make
Only
up
fasting.
the missed days of Salah. And then he said, after that, but not the missed prayer, right? And then the womb of a woman in a state of postnatal bleeding discharges blood during and after giving birth, and this is the blood accumulated during pregnancy. The maximum period of postnatal bleeding is 40 days. The maximum is what?
40 days.
40 days, according to the majority of the scholars. At-Tirmidhi stated, last page now, he said, people of religious knowledge among the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and their successors uniformly unanimously agree that a woman in a state of postnatal bleeding must give up prayer for 40 days unless her bleeding stops before that. In this case, she has to take a ritual bath and perform prayer. Very important. It might stop after 1 day of delivery, right? Now what should she do?
Take a bath and then start praying.
Pray. One brother he asked me before about some women, even we consider like even in the Haid. They say, okay, I have 6 days of Haid or 7 days of Haid, right? She might get pure before that, right? She has to do what? Immediately just take a shower and just start praying. So I just didn't have time. My time only says 7 days. No, stop. Blood stop. So you have to now start praying and fasting if you are in Ramadan, right? So I have a question.
Like if somebody has C-section, like she has,
Hmm?
if somebody has operation
Yeah.
C-section in that case,
Yeah,
same.
That doesn't change the postnatal
It's the
bleeding.
same thing.
yeah. If she's still if same ruling,
Doesn't
If
change.
she doesn't see the blood, so she has. So now the factor or the determined factor is if she see the blood or not. She see the blood or not, right? No, it's okay. So now he said. He said here, so if the bleeding of a woman in a state of postnatal bleeding stops before the 40th day, her period of postnatal bleeding ends, and she must have a ritual bath, perform prayer, and practice all acts of worship that have been prohibited for her during the postnatal bleeding period. Right? What if the other scenario? If a pregnant woman miscarries and starts discharging, right? So now the stillborn, the dead baby, right? Was born as dead, right? Was born dead. The stillborn has reached, if the stillborn has reached a distinctively recognizable form, she is considered a woman in a state of postnatal bleeding. What that means?
The same ruling, everything.
Same rules, yeah.
Same ruling. She has to wait.
Yeah, now her embryo got stillborn. Yes, stillborn, right? She miscarried. If this embryo has a distinctively shape of human form, we can became actually human shaped. Now she will consider that whatever blood comes after that as postnatal bleeding. Right? Okay. So the same ruling will be given to her. An embryo takes about 81 days to 3 months in order to have a distinctively recognizable shape. This is the estimate. Of course, your doctor can even. They said 81 days till 2 3 months inside her womb, the embryo. During this period, right? Now he can be distinctively known as a human, like his shape. He's not clot. He's not lump of clot, right? Right? He's not like no, he's not piece of of flesh. He is actually distinctively known
Man.
as human, right?
Human.
You got it? So if that happens, whatever blood will come after that will be as postnatal bleeding. If the embryo is only mere a lump of flesh or clinging clot without distinctively recognizable form, the woman is not considered in a state of postnatal bleeding. Even if she starts discharging, she is not to give up prayer or fasting. And none of the rulings of postnatal bleeding is applicable in this case. You got it?
Yes.
So only two cases. Two cases. She miscarried, but she looked. It was still like after a few days of her being pregnant, right? She miscarried. So it was only like flesh of like piece of flesh, right? So now she's going to be. She has to continue pray and fast, no problem, right?
So this would be considered something like istihadah?
Like
Or-
istihad, exactly. Yeah, this blood is not actually postnatal bleeding. Now we finish. It seems suitable to thoroughly complete our discussion, alhamdulillah, at this point by mentioning that some women may take some kinds of medicine. It's a very like last point here. Since some women might take kinds of medicine that prevents menstrual bleeding in order to observe fasting in the month of Ramadan or to perform Hajj. Such medications are permissible. Are what? Permissible. She can do that, no problem. Like in Ramadan, some women say, okay, I want to fast the whole month. So they take some kind of medicine. This, huh?
Like birth control, the birth control.
It has nothing to do with birth control now. She has something to do with stopping the bleeding, the menstruation.
Yeah,
come.
the same pills. Yeah, sometimes the same pills. Yeah.
Hmm?
Sometimes the same pills can be used.
Yeah, I
Same
don't know
thing.
the symbols or not. I'm telling you, the mechanism of it is to stop the blood, right? Yeah, of course, when she stops the blood, that means she's gonna stop like herself being able to get pregnant, right? Of course, like this is gonna happen automatically, right? But her intention is to what? Is to continue fasting, right? And to continue, to make Hajj without any problem. So she takes this medicine, right, to stop the bleeding during the whole time of Hajj or the month of Ramadan. It's okay if it's not harmful. Also, it's not harmful to her. It's okay, and also it's only what do you call it, temporary. Temporary is not permanent. It's not something is gonna just cut off the menstruation at all. But that's gonna cause her to be
Barren.
like barren, and
She can't have kids.
yeah, she's not gonna have kids anymore, right? So if it's only for like time beings, and then she's gonna be okay after that, it's okay, right? Of course, he said if this he said yeah, such medications are permissible if they prevent blood only for a period of time, not forever. If this medicine prevents menstruation forever, a woman is not permitted to take it without her husband's permission, since her ability to give birth is also prevented as a result of taking this medicine. It's clear? Clear? Okay. Thus, we have briefly highlighted the rulings on menstruation, which needs a much longer time to elaborate on if a Muslim is confused or in doubt regarding any of the aforementioned rulings or any other ones. He or she must consult fuqaha, and surely they will find what eliminates their confusion and doubt. Inshallah, we invoke Allah to grant us success. So this is the end of the chapter number 13, right? So before just we have any question before just we have any question? We didn't take that much time today.
Brother Ali has question.
But I have question. Okay, just go ahead, brother.
My question is this regarding traveling. For example, my wife has a period, but I have to travel next day for a long time, for 5-6 months. Do I have a relation? I can have a relation with the wife or not?
She is pregnant?
During the period.
Yeah, period or pregnancy, what?
During the period.
Period, not pregnant.
Height, during the height.
Height.
Yeah.
It's haram. It's haram to
Long
have.
traveling. I'm going with, for example.
It doesn't matter. It is haram. It is haram. It is haram. It's haram. It's some very like it's something haram actually. No other word to be said. It's haram for the husband to have a relationship, means copulation, as you said, like sexual relationship, right? With like complete relationship, right? With his wife during the time of menstruation. This haram is not permitted at all, right? But other kinds of like things which is other than that, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? It's okay. So, but if it doesn't reach to this point, of course it's haram. So two things must be should be avoided, right? When it comes to the relation with women, like doing that during the time of menstruation, and
Postnatal bleeding.
of course postnatal bleeding has the same ruling, by the way. Postnatal bleeding has the same ruling, right? So this is also and the other thing, which is what, which is doing in a relationship, with women from the backside, right? This actually, this is the actually act of the Qawm Lut.
Yes.
They say that this is the Lutiyya as-Sughra, like the minor shape of Lutiyya, right? To do such act with one's wife, right? With one's wife from this side. It's like also prohibited. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever does such act, he disbelieved in what has been revealed upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's very, strong like threat against such people, right? Who do such thing. So yeah, okay, it's very actually important chapter. You have any question about this point? I think nothing is left here. We mentioned mostly everything, right? Yes, we almost like mentioned everything. The only point that brother he mentioned before, he said some women, they might get pure before the time, right? And then they keeps away from salah and saum, and which is something haram, right? They have to start now praying and taking like a ritual bath, and get themselves purified. So hopefully, inshallah, everything's clear. We ask Allah, inshallah, we're gonna have now test. Now we finished 13 chapters. 13 chapters. We're gonna have test, inshallah. Not now, brother, but don't worry. Not now. But no, just test what? So inshallah, inshallah will be next time. I'm gonna try to prepare something for you. So inshallah, I'm gonna try to get ready. I'm gonna be open book test, right? So I'm gonna just have the access to review and to look and to get the.
This meaning is people know about.
Yes,
What is it?
exactly. And then inshallah we're gonna start next time the book of Salah. Inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase us in knowledge. Barakallahu feekum. Alhamdulillah. And inshallah, we're gonna also have certificates for all of those brothers who attended in the first book of purification, 13 chapters. We're gonna give certificates for those who attended after we see the result of the test. Inshallah. So that's do it. If you have to do your best to succeed, to pass this test, inshallah, to be able to get the certificate, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase all of us in knowledge.
Amen.
An ice cream.
Yeah, inshallah.
certified.